The Kiger is a great looking car and there is really no doubt about it. Yes, from some angles it does look like the Kwid, but that is not a bad thing at all. These split LED headlamps, for instance, are very similar to the Kwid, but these distinctive rectangular elements at the bottom of the main headlamp do set it apart. There is the massive Renault logo on the grille and that really stands out. There are black elements on the bumper up here and here. There's a sort of lip here which really looks attractive. There are muscular creases on the bonnet and that does really lend this car a muscular appeal. On the side, the squared off wheel arches along with the distinctive alloy design with these unique Y elements does stand out. There is black plastic cladding that runs all the way to the back. Then you can take a look at the rear, the C-pillar for instance. It has this unique blue and black element to it, blue and black design to it, and that's due to the dual tone paint job. At the rear, the roof flows in sharply after the C-pillar and the athletic haunches flow into these distinctive C-shaped tail lamps. At the rear, that is the biggest design element here and there are a couple of creases, but those are basically in line with the rest of the design of the tail lamps. Boot space, as you see, is fairly optimal, is actually among the best in the class. On the inside too, the Kiger is very well put together. There are a number of different materials, textures on the dash here, textured seats, textured element on the door panel as well. Really useful rotary dials instead of the controls on a touch sensitive button or something. You've got obviously the touch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I really like the instrument cluster. I love the treatment that Renault have given the instrument cluster here. Very different actually from most of the other recent products that we have reviewed. Very useful, very functional. We've got really comfortable, very well bolstered seats. Really nice chunky steering wheel to hold. The steering can only be adjusted for rake and not for reach, so that's something you should keep in mind. But on the whole, it's not really that difficult to find a good driving position, so I would not be too worried. The dash layout in itself is it's premium, although there are plastics that are on the harder side. The layout overall is very premium. A number of different materials, number of different finishes. You can see the textured fabric on the seats, textured element on the door pads as well. So all in all, a very well put together cabin. I'm fairly comfortable in the back. The seat in front of me is set to my driving position and I'm 6 feet tall, but there's still enough space. There's an armrest if I need it with 2 tiny cup holders. Under thigh support is lacking, I would say, but it's not really a deal breaker. the headrest is adjustable, so that helps as well. I get a good view out of the cabin. I don't feel hemmed in at all. So all in all, a good space.
The car that we're driving today is equipped with a 1 litre turbo petrol unit and is mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox. Right off the bat, it is evident that this is among the quickest cars in the segment. The motor is really punchy and pulls strongly all the way to the red line. There is some amount of turbo lag, but work the gears smartly and you've got yourselves a quick car. In-gear acceleration is good as well, and although the engine does get a little loud, it is accompanied by a proportional increase in speed. The driving modes significantly alter the throttle response too. The gearbox, however, is a bit of a letdown and does dampen the mood. It is really notchy and the throws are long as well. The clutch, although on the heavier side, is fairly progressive and it is easy to find the bite point. The steering wheel doesn't have a lot in the way of feedback, but it is fairly accurate and helps you to place the Kiger really well on the road. The added weight helps as speeds increase, but the ride does get a little too busy at high speeds. Slow speed ride, on the other hand, is very pliant and very few bumps really make their presence felt in the cabin. As speeds increase, the ride stays good, but it seems like the suspension is really working hard to keep the car flat, and it seems very floaty. At everyday city and highway speeds, the Kiger handles well. Sure, there is an ample amount of body roll, but it isn't worrisome at all. Kiger's braking performance is also good with the front disc and rear drum setup.
The Kiger, simply put, comes across as a breath of fresh air. It offers almost all that you could ask for from a car in its segment, while still managing to do so at a price point that undercuts all of its rivals. It drives well, it is great to look at, and has tons of features. In essence, it has everything going for it. It is hard to not recommend if you are in the market for a new sub 4 meter compact SUV.